All right, I told Schaeffer I was going to read all of February the 19th, 2011 transcript, which is 430 pages. When I got to page 97, I hit a massive find, which is an Aaron Bennett reference to an Aaron Bennett Bill Fulton death threat. I'm going to pick back up at page 97, and we'll try to get to page 120, and we're going to work our way through the whole thing. Will we find anything else as we read through this? I don't know. I don't know if we'll find anything else or not, but I want to tell Schaeffer I read through the whole thing, and that's what we're going to do, is no matter how long it takes. Here we go, page 97, February 19th, 2011 transcript. Mr. Thessing and Bill Wenzel, phonetic. Miss Vernon, no. Mr. Olson, no. Miss Vernon, inaudible. Olson, $300,000 whore. Bill pulled Bill Fulton. Speaker number, not Bill. It has it. He paid $450 to get that film that day. It's all on DVD. If anybody wants to inaudible, you'll get to see what Aaron Bennett, what a piece of shit he is. Inaudible, just everything inaudible on him. Mr. Thessing, Speaker number, but he was using inaudible. He got me pissed off, and it. Mr. Cox, yeah. Speaker number blew up. Mr. Cox, I know. Speaker number, and this is an hour. Mr. Cox attacking you. $300,000 whore attacking, yeah. Speaker number, an hour into the meeting because they're an hour late because they're drunk, showing up to inaudible, drunk all night, and they come in there running their punk, running their mouth. Him and his little punk buddies. Got one little punk buddy, that little Mr. Cox, Luke. Speaker number, I can guarantee you if you see him around and they're both together and they're staring at you, you better get your gun and blow their freaking head off, because that's what they're coming to do to you. That's their plan. They try to get down there. They had the knife out and everything. Every guy, $300,000 whore. And they were drinking with their gun, you know. Speaker number, they were born with a gun. It could say they were at the bar with a gun. Mr. Olson, and you know, they may have 3 or 4 guns each. Miss Vernon, inaudible. Speaker number, and I stayed in a room with inaudible on it, and there's only one card to it. I guess they've got a card to Bill's room too. I slept real good that night. About speaker number, yeah. Speaker number, 45 minutes. Inaudible the door. Every 15 minutes, half hour, there's inaudible around the door. Mr. Thessing, so does he have any sporadic inspiration of why we are all dead and why? Speaker number, because he's Mr. Cox. Well, I hear. Speaker number, he's a little, his figure of speech is a little big dick, a little peckerhead. That's all he is, him and his little peckerhead. That's all. Mr. Vernon, you watch this tape and you'll see what a piece of shit he is. There was a woman at this conference too. He sat right behind her. He was F you this and F you mother FF, all inaudible. That shit went down for more than 2 hours, and then this is all it is. He is the only one who knows anything how to do in the state. When he was a little kid, that should have had, when he was a little nut, that shit begun. Somebody should have finished him off. He doesn't deserve to walk the planet. Mr. Cox, well anyway, let's get down inaudible. Mr. Vernon, anybody threatens me like that, and don't ever put me down again, inaudible. Mr. Cox, put you down. Mr. Vernon, you never stop shutting me down. You never stop shutting me down about Aaron Bennett ever again, because I saw you on that tape. It's on there. You guys can listen to it back and forth with him trying to buddy up with him. Never disrespect me to talk with that son of a bitch again. If I ever catch you talking to him again, I'm done with you. That's where, Mr. Cox, I'm not. Mr. Vernon, I'm at with you. Mr. Cox, I'm not buddy with him. Mr. Vernon, ever? I heard it on the tape. He heard it on the tape. $300,000 whore. Well, I don't think Schaeffer was putting, I didn't see Schaeffer putting you down. Mr. Vernon, no, $300,000 whore, but Mr. Vernon, what I'm saying is trying to shut me down. This is, I think, $300,000 whore Olson. I think he was just trying to get order. Mr. Vernon, inaudible too. That son of a bitch is a piece of shit. Who inaudible too? That inaudible. Mr. Cox, I know. Mr. Vernon, he's a dead son of a bitch too. Mr. Cox, Lonnie. Mr. Vernon, inaudible. Mr. Cox, what I was saying is that, Mr. Vernon, I listened to 3 or 4 phone calls that morning. You go on and on and on. I said, God dang shit. You should have. It actually says the damn word, but you should have had your ass down here if you were so god dang It doesn't really say god dang, but that's what I'm saying. Worried about it. Mr. Cox, we were having an audible. Mr. Vernon, stand up for yourself. I'm not standing up for this shit no more. You go open your mouth and you get your ass in a trap every time. You got 3 times against you right now. And you sit there and try to shut me down. I've got on my load right now. I got fucking shit coming down on me. And I got you on the front inaudible in my yard yesterday with your kid out there in the yard. Yeah. And you can hear it 4 miles down the fucking road. There's nothing. It's quiet out there. You're out there exposing yourself 24 hours a goddamn day. Says the other word. And you want to get on this goddamn phone, it says the other word. You're on this phone. Well, if you want to get on the phone, go to your house and get on the phone. I'm going to get them driving up my goddamn, it says the other word, driving next, and my whole fucking place is going to come apart and everybody's going to die. You know that because I've told you that. I am to the point now where if anybody fucks with me, I'm done with them. These guys don't need to get involved in it. JR offered it too. I don't want him to. None of you guys do. But if you come out there and you get me into a fucking shitstorm with 5 fucking cops out there, they're going to die, and you probably will too, and I will too, for damn sure, because I'm not dealing with these cocksuckers. You've been playing in their fucking face now, 1.5 years, and you shot your mouth off at Marty. That bullshit should have stopped. You should have just bailed right then. Now you're up in their goddamn, says the other word, face on this court shit for damn different things, and you should have fucking bailed it out. Got it done with. Then come expose them afterwards. But because you didn't go about it right, I'm telling you, got your ducks in a row, ducks in a row, ducks in a row. You never have your ducks in a row. I'm blowing up because I've had enough of this. You never god dang, it uses the other word, deal with this. You go to some honky motherfuckers down in god dang, uses the other word, Washington. We don't even know who these assholes are. This paperwork you're filing is bullshit. You got OMB number on it. There's no expiration date. It doesn't mean anything unless it's got a date on it. They'll run forever. These guys are just smoking you, and then I'm getting smoked in the middle of it. I'm pissed. Mr. Cox, well, what would you like to happen? Well, what would you like to happen? Mr. Vernon, well, for starters, you figure out, take your wife because she's pissed off all day long because it's not her house and she can't get her mail and she can't do this and she's whining like a son of a bitch. Take her home to her house. Then you figure out where you're going to go and stay and hide out. If you're going to hide out for the next 4 months, go do it. Because every time you get out, you open your trap and you trap us all into something else. You should have been doing this paperwork like you're talking about a 1.5 months ago. It should have been exposed all over. I'm not going to go any further because I'm going to explode here in a minute because I can tell you guys something inaudible really pissing me off. We've been bailing our money in this son of a bitch here and dragging 100 pounds of shit around with you. It should have been exposed in this house to make it roll. I'm down to my last goddamn dime and not a fucking thing to live on. Not a fucking thing. I can't even get a goddamn, says the other word, job because of this goddamn, says the other word, government. This is it. I'm done. You dragging around. I don't know what you've got in them boxes. You could have been fucking me on this up. You could have been fucking me on this up on the wall. There were billboards telling everybody what the fucking bullshit is, and they'd believe it. They'd finally have to believe it. But oh no, I'm going to run and hide with my kids, run and hide with my gold and silver, and run and hide with my guns. But I don't fucking take care of. I want my house too. Well, you know what? I'm not going to have a house. I probably won't be breathing in 3.5 years from now. But you know what? I'm not going to deal with that shit. And you're going to straighten this up. You're going to straighten it out one way or another. I'm done. I'm not getting in the middle of this shit no more until you straighten up the whole show. You guys all into this thing. You figure it out right now. You've been sitting around daydreaming. La 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 la. Get this shit together, Schaeffer. It's not no kidnap game anymore. No more. It's not a fucking TV show. This is not a fucking TV and Star Wars bullshit. This is get the goddamn, it uses the other word, thing figured out. Make a goddamn plan, uses the other word. Which you didn't even plan. You didn't even plan to come out to my house. You didn't even bring a goddamn, uses the other word, to-go bag or nothing. You have nothing ready to come to my house, and all that I hear from fucking 2 days afterwards, whine, because we don't have this and we don't have that. I'm sorry, but I'm not putting up with fucking whining people. I hate whining fucking people. Oh, Lonnie, you're something else. Lonnie the truck driver. I hate whiny fucking people. Get your shit together. Mr. Cox, we've never been whiny. Mr. Vernon, you sound just like that kid. Your wife's whining like a kid too. I'm tired of that shit. My wife has got so much fucking paperwork to do right now. It's going to take 8 days minimum to get our stuff in. And I'm not listening to 1 second of that no more. We've got to get this shit together. You could have walked in that goddamn, says the other word, courtroom a week ago and said, let's all get this thing rattling. Now I'm going to run. It have been done and taken care of. We wouldn't all be involved in this right now. We'd be doing our own shit because we've got plenty to do. You ain't going to jump in the middle of my stuff, which is fine. I don't care if you come out the house, but now we're on the fucking wrist now too, because if they come out there and you're always on this fucking phone, piddling around with these goddamn phones, you're gonna get us hooked up. I got to go see what's going on. Go call the media. Go call. You want a fucking media? Well, take your fucking media. You just fucking dragging us into this thing to the bottom. I've hit the bottom. I've been looking out for you a year and a half now, and I'm going to look at it the very end of it. But when I leave this son of a bitch, I hope to fucking drag you down too, because you're not doing it right. You're dragging us into a bunch of shit. This mouth running shit in that courtroom, 3,600 people are going to come fucking kill you in your house. God, when I heard that, I wanted to tear the whole fucking building down. You don't threaten goddamn people, says the other word. You inaudible them their own shit. You were on the right track until you had to threaten them. 3,600 people are going to fucking tear you down and kill your family. Jesus Christ, you know what that sounds like? Listen to the media. That's where you're at. You blew it when Marty and her mom and her fucking family bullshit. Leave it the fuck out of it. You should have turned around and came home that night. Inaudible, left that fucking Inaudible. You were pissed off when he left in. It was almost 40 fucking below. I remember that night. You should have just turned and went home and said, nope. We're not. If your wife can't handle this shit, fuck it, stay home. When she got into it and stirred this whole fucking thing up, you killed the whole thing. But you had to get back into it. I'm sorry, Schaeffer, but that's my thoughts on this. And you just been fucking 3 times over. Everybody is just fuck it. I ain't got nothing to do with this shit. I gave everything I had on this, and I didn't have shit 5 years ago. Yeah, I've been paid for the whole thing, no problem. But now I'm down, and I'm down. I've listened to it from my wife, and I've had enough because it's tore us down for 3 months now. They're going to fucking burn me into the ashes, or 3 weeks from now. I'll probably get a bullet in my fucking head. But look where you put us, because you won't shut this thing. You got it going, but when you run off with some other bullshit, quit fucking lying. Then you fucking buddy up with that goddamn Aaron Bennett. It uses the other word. Then send me and JR down this bullshit down to a fucking trap. That really pissed me off. I'm sick of. The only decent person down there is Norm Olson. And those other people that showed up, but then after they saw what the fuck we were into, who the fuck are these guys? Mr. Cox, you're absolutely right. The only decent... Mr. Vernon, I was sent into a fucking trap. Mr. Cox, the only... Mr. Vernon, oh, weren't we though? You asked JR. We was trapped the whole fucking time we was there. $300,000 whore. Well, Mr. Cox. Inaudible went down there inaudible. Mr. Vernon, because you knew that motherfucker was coming from this town. Mr. Cox, I did not know that Aaron was going, and I was not impressed when he showed up. Mr. Vernon, nor did I. Mr. Cox, but I definitely appreciate you and JR being there, and I inaudible. Miss $300,000 whore. I remember when we met up Schaeffer's house, he told us that only 2 that were going to be, the only 2 that he trusted was Norm and Ray wasn't there, so that leaves Norm. Mr. Vernon, and inaudible son of a bitch was going to be there. $300,000 whore Olson. Because remember when he said, I remember Schaeffer telling us that there's going to be some crazy shit happening, or he didn't say shit, but there's going to be some there potentially could be some crazy stuff going on with Bill and his drinking crowd. And then Mr. Vernon, inaudible, Mr. Olson, $300,000 whore. He didn't know who was showing up, so I specifically remember Schaeffer saying that the only I don't know you didn't say buddy up with, but did kind of follow their lead, and was Norm and Ray wasn't there. So we know I was going in that to keep everybody at an arm's length other than Norm. You know, other than Norm and Ray wasn't there, so that left Norm the only thing to follow. But I don't think it was a trap. I think it was more Aaron just being drunk. Mr. Vernon, yeah, well, $300,000 whore. And stupid. But I don't think it was a trap on anyone's part, trying to trap us into anything. Mr. Vernon. But that inaudible, that whole thing, that would have been a really good deal. It was a perfect, except because people were thinking the same way. Inaudible because people were thinking the same way. People are getting their stuff together, and there's this group over here, Inaudible. I bet they shy clear away from everything now. If he's smart, he will. And after that, after what he saw that Saturday, and if they got to have a good thing going, but now here we are. Page 112. Mr. Cox, well, I'm glad that you were down there because you guys were very good influence. What if Norm had been the only one inaudible? Mr. Vernon, Norm was even inaudible. Mr. Cox, and you guys supported Norm and you brought order to it. I think you guys both did really good, and I'm sorry you had to sit there and listen to Aaron do this. Mr. Vernon, well, I'm just letting you guys know, and JR knows it too, that you guys are targets because $300,000 whore. Oh, whoa. We've been targets since we've signed up. Speaker number, yeah. $300,000 whore. To you know as patriots. Mr. Thessing, inaudible. $300,000 whore, in my opinion. Mr. Vernon, shy away from this son of a bitch if you see him. $300,000 whore. Oh, I don't have nothing. I didn't even really know Aaron Bennett was, you know. Speaker number. And everyone knows who you are? $300,000 whore. Yeah, oh yeah, I don't have nothing to do with that. Cox, and I, $300,000 whore crew. Cox, only reason we came out to your guy's house is because you offered several times, but well, Miss Vernon, Cox, get that? Mr. Vernon, we did. Cox, we'll get out of there. I don't want to put a burden on you, and I know you guys inaudible long time, and we definitely appreciate that, but I don't want to put a burden on you. And Mr. Thessing, they're supposed to be able to tell within 3 feet as we're anybody that's got a kind of phone at all. Mr. Vernon, Mr. Thesson, inaudible, phone 3 feet, phone within 3 feet. I don't know, man. I was hoping that you inaudible. I hope you don't need an anchorage, and I was hoping you would get the hell out of this state, you know. Speaker number, yeah. Mr. Thesson, somewhere, because there's a lot of things that's going to happen, and I hope this is a good time to talk about it, that if you stay out at least 3 months, completely out of their grasp, at least 3 months minimum, things are going to go and get so bad, I think, you know. Speaker number, inaudible. Mr. Thesson, you got the dollar crash and everything else. Miss Vernon, yeah. Mr. Thesson, you're into small potatoes. They're going to be worried about their own little circle around their own house, you know. You know, they took all the diplomats out of all the countries. Speaker number, inaudible. Mr. Thesson, first time, I mean every, and there's more applications for passports out of the District of Columbia. Speaker number, yeah. Mr. Thessing, than in world history. Speaker number, yeah. Mr. Thessing of the United States. So they're going to, and that's where all this money and everything in the courts and all this corporation BS is happening. That's the Mother Queen Bee layer right there. So once they go in and that just blows up, you know, whatever happens, I think that you could, you know, go somewhere where it's not going. I mean, what can you do? I was thinking you might go to Israel or something before I was hoping that you got through TSA and was gone, baby. I mean, before they started really looking for you. That's what I was hoping you had done. Cox, well, here's where I'm at. Lonnie, I heard and received everything that you are saying, and I understand your frustrations. You're a great guy, and I love you, and I respect you deeply. I certainly don't want you to think I sent you down there to a trap. Mr. Vernon, no. Cox, buddy with Mr. Vernon. But nothing's perfect. What I'm saying, what I don't disrespect, don't disrespect us no more. Give this stuff up. Now, like Kenny says, we know in the next couple of months this country is going to start unfolding. I mean, I give it by the end of April, it's going to be inaudible. Miss Vernon, it'll happen at the end because before March 10th. Mr. Vernon, yeah, here's March the 7th. Mr. Vernon, they know that that's our deadline. Mr. Vernon, through 15th, there's kind of a thing going on here in the world too, but I mean, whatever, that's here nor there, but if it happens, it happens. Mr. Cox, just, well, I don't want to inaudible. Mr. Vernon, because you're right, we have to get you away. You have to go away. Your wife and kids can go back to the house. What are they going to do? They got to. Mr. Olson, $300,000 horror. I wouldn't separate from your family, Cox, but here's $300,000 horror. You know, Cox, so here's $300,000 horror. I wouldn't do that, Cox. Here's what we're thinking. I hope you know, I understood everything you're saying, but I don't agree with some of it. What you're saying that we will just inaudible, which is okay, but back to what I was talking about, people want to be lied to. I've been proclaiming the oracle for 3 years. I don't regret standing up for doing any of this that I've done. I don't even think there anything I would do different if I could go back and do it over. I mean, there were character assassinations, made up stuff with Marty. That's all just par for the course, you know. That's to be expected. I think that's out of my control, and that was just the cost of standing up and speaking the truth. All of it being attacked the way I am, that's just the cost of standing up and calling it out, and that will happen to any of us. And while sometimes I could get sucked into thinking or feeling that if I had done something different, I could have made things go differently, or if I could have, I would have or think, you know, I'm putting a burden on you guys because I'm doing something bad. I don't think that that's the case. I think that I was just getting just the same tactic that they put on anybody who stands up and says what's right. But the fact remains that they are very effective at it. And at this point, there's two things that I'm considering, and that are pulling on me. First is that I don't want to quit or give up on the fight or stop struggling for liberty and law and against tyranny, and to try to help those who are fighting to live free. You know, I feel a very strong duty towards that. But at the same time, I don't want to ruin your guys and being near you. I don't want to hook you to my fate. And I appreciate your help in every way, Mr. Vernon, but help is not the problem. Mr. Cox, but I don't want to stay on board, and I think the best thing might be just to disappear. Mr. Thessing, at least for 3 months. Mr. Vernon, yeah. It'd be safer for you and your family, Schaeffer. Mr. Thessing, and I don't want to have to worry about, you know, staying underground. Marty can, you know, clean up, move around, you know, all of the little domestic persons. Mr. Vernon, Thessing stuff, you know, Miss Vernon, Mr. Thessing, that everybody likes, nobody likes, you know, in solitary confinement when it's avoidable. It seems like it's avoidable. The paperwork that you want to get done, and you know, like with Raymond and Audible, I'm hesitant to put my name on any more stuff because these guys have unlimited resources. Now, Miss Vernon, Mr. Thessing, I went all the way up to where you wanted to get, you know, all of us, we all have, I put my name on, I signed my name, I put my signature on things because I believe that, and I still do, that you are in honor and in God's law. Mr. Cox, that's right. Thessing, okay. Vernon, Cox, I want Thessing, but Cox, want to keep that above all else. Mr. Thessing, right. Vernon, yep. Mr. Thessing, and I know you're doing your best too, level best, better than anybody I know. Anyone else I know could inaudible this as far as you went the way you've done it, okay? So I think God is with you, but now it's time. Okay, I'm going to pause here on page 121, and we still got to get to page 430.